In a shocking turn of events, one of the self-proclaimed Core 4 has jumped ship and joined forces with the evil Spyglass organization. Many toxic Scream 5 and 6 fans, as well as Melissa Barrera Simps, are asking the question today, how could this happen? How could he betray our queen and be a part of Scream 7? My guess would be that he was probably looking for a job. The producers of Scream 7 came calling, and that's usually how these things work. I know this is going to be difficult for some people to hear, but not everyone is required to agree with your one-sided worldviews. Let's discuss.
I watch so you don't have to.
All I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
That's right, Variety is reporting that Mason Gooding, Chad Meeks himself, is returning for Scream 7. And with this news, simps and fake activists everywhere collectively lost their minds. Before I get into the predictable, unstable reactions, I'm going to talk about the news itself first. Now, I've made it no secret that I personally believe that Scream 6 is an abomination of cinema. And as a longtime Scream fan, I had little to no interest in the story that they were trying to tell with the Core 4. I just didn't find any of those characters to be all that memorable or interesting. That being said, outside of Chad's ridiculous third act plot armor in Scream 6, I guess I would say that he's always been the most tolerable of the new crop of characters. Now, I recognize that these actors and actresses were mostly given dog material to work with, so everything that's going on in these two movies really isn't their fault. But when it comes right down to it, all things considered, I think Chad's existence was the easiest to digest.
That's racist.
As far as his involvement in Scream 7, listen, I'm already on record as saying I don't think we need another Scream movie right now. I think at the very least, the franchise could have used a little bit of a break after the travesty that was Scream 6. However, I'd be lying to you if I said that Kevin Williamson's involvement with Scream 7 doesn't have me at least a little bit more interested than I would have normally been. Couple that with the fact that Neve Campbell is finally getting paid what she deserves, and we now have the opportunity to give the character of Sidney Prescott a proper finale. I'm now very interested to see where Scream 7 goes, because Scream is Sidney's story after all.
Don't fuck with the original.
When I heard that Radio Silence was no longer involved with Scream 7, I was thrilled. When that led to the possibility of the Core 4 not being involved as well, I was even more excited. If I'm being totally honest, initially, I was in the camp that said I wanted Scream 7 to ignore the existence of Scream 5 and 6 altogether. To me, it would have been worth it for the online meltdowns alone. But I'm willing to admit that was kind of the troll in me talking, because I do enjoy trolling people who deserve it. If I'm being completely honest with you, I'm okay with Chad returning because it does create that connective tissue. It keeps continuity alive, even if that continuity includes movies that I think are absolute garbage. I mean, at the end of the day, whether Mason was involved or not, Sidney will be the focal point of this story, as she should be. The truth is that when you make the creative decision to start removing movies from existence, things do tend to get a bit messy, and we have many examples of that happening. At this point, it's probably better for Spyglass to just admit that they messed up and try to move on. And that seems like what they are doing.
That makes sense.
Of course, this decision will also mean that Dewey is definitively dead, which is never going to sit right with me. But as always, with any situation, headcanon is everything. Listen, I don't know if Chad will be a cameo. I don't know if he'll have a definitive role. I don't know if they're just bringing him back to kill him off in the first scene. But either way, I trust the people involved now to make it all make sense more so than I trust Radio Silence. As far as the reaction to this, the positive reactions include a lot of longtime Scream fans actually being supportive of Mason's return, which I think puts the BS narrative to bed that the people who support Neve Campbell can't support the new cast members.
Only a Sith deals in absolutes.
Listen, there's toxic people in every fandom. We know this. But we also know where a majority of the toxicity is coming from when it comes to Scream. Listen, I've talked about these unhinged individuals a lot already, and frankly, I don't think they deserve much more of my attention. But I will say that their reaction to Mason's return is pretty much exactly what you would expect it to be. Mason's a loser. Mason's desperate for a job. Mason is betraying Melissa. More than anything, I think these people need to get over it and move on, because it seems like that's what everyone else is doing. Scream is moving on, Spyglass is moving on, Nev Campbell is definitely moving on. Melissa Barrera is moving on, well, sort of. She does seem to bring up the situation in interviews a lot, or at least get questioned about it. But when you stop and think about it, as it pertains to this conversation, that's neither here nor there. The real problem is these nameless, faceless accounts on social media who support her, because they do it at an unhealthy level.
They just laugh at us. And why? Because we love something? How can fandom be toxic?
Case in point, attacking anyone who's involved with making Scream 7, as well as anyone who's excited to watch it. All of these people you are mad at, including Mason now, do not owe you or Melissa Barrera anything. The fact that you are attacking someone that you swore by just a short time ago, simply because they made a business or creative decision that you don't agree with, is exactly why you shouldn't take any of these people's opinions seriously. It also kind of ruins your whole idea that you want to support minority actors getting these types of roles. It's a movement that you claim to care so much about, but you only care when that person is doing and saying the things that you want them to do and say. The moment that Mason acts or speaks for himself, or more importantly, thinks for himself, you write him off disrespectfully just like you did the OG Scream fans, as well as the OG Scream cast.
Why are you the way that you are?
This is why I say that most of these people are fake Scream fans masquerading as phony online activists. It's never been about the Scream franchise for them and what makes the franchise better. It's all about people validating them or else. I say good for Mason. He certainly gained a lot more of my respect simply because he's doing what's best for him and not listening to all the noise. Because that's exactly what it is. Noise. A lot of bullshit that is worthy of being ignored. Of course you'd support this traitor who turned his back on Queen Melissa. You know what though? It's fine, because Melissa's career is thriving. Meanwhile, Mason went crawling back to Scream for an easy paycheck. I always knew he was nothing more than a closet incel anyway. I can't wait for Scream 7 to flop and see all of you racists cry your eyes out. Because I think I speak for everyone who has human decency when I say we will not be seated.
Y'all be cool. Right on.